Jeremy is a 22-year-old student living alone in a rural area to work. He lives in a huge building in nowhere. He always wondered why he was the only tenant in the huge building. He had moved in a year ago, attracted by the cheap rent and the spacious apartment. The landlord had told him that the building was old and had some issues, but nothing serious. Jeremy didn't mind. He liked the solitude and the silence. He worked as a freelance writer, so he spent most of his time in his apartment, typing away on his laptop. He rarely went out, except for groceries and occasional meetings with clients. He didn't have many friends or family, and he preferred it that way. He was a loner, and he enjoyed his own company. But lately, he had started to feel uneasy. He had noticed strange noises in the building, like footsteps, whispers, and creaks. He had seen shadows moving in the hallways and felt cold drafts in his rooms. He had found scratches on his walls and doors and bloodstains on his floor. He had heard voices in his head telling him to do things he didn't want to do. He had tried to ignore them, to rationalize them, to dismiss them as figments of his imagination. He had told himself that he was just stressed, that he needed a break, that he was fine. Even some of his friends told him that the building he's living in is cursed, and people who went there to live never came back. He had refused to believe that the building was haunted, that it was cursed, that it wanted him dead. But he couldn't deny it any longer. It was too much. He knew that something was wrong, that something was evil, that something was after him. He knew that he had to get out, that he had to escape, that he had to survive. He packed his bags, grabbed his laptop, and ran to the elevator. He pressed the button for the ground floor, hoping that it would work. He waited nervously as the doors closed and the elevator started to descend. He breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that he had made it. He thought that he was safe, that he was free, that he was alive. He was wrong. The elevator stopped abruptly and the lights went out. He heard a loud bang and felt a jolt. He realized that the elevator had crashed and that he was trapped. He screamed, but no one heard him. He panicked, but no one helped him. He was alone, in the dark, in the metal coffin. He felt something move, something touch him, something bite him. He felt pain, fear, agony. He felt his life drain away, his blood spill out, his flesh tear apart. He looked up and saw a face that he recognized, a face that he hated, a face that he feared. It was the face of his landlord. He realized too late that his landlord was not a human, but a demon that had lured him into the building, that had tormented him for a year, that had fed on his misery and despair. He realized too late that the building was not a building, but a trap that had no escape, that had no mercy, that had no end. He realized too late that he was not a tenant, but a victim that had no hope, that had no choice, that had no life. At the end, everything he realized was too late. If only he had listened to his friends and his guts.